This episode of the Busted Wide Open podcast is brought to you by Blueberry. Blueberry offers the best media hosting, accurate listening stats, and their all-new PowerPress Deluxe sites, a no-setup WordPress website for your podcast with all the necessary links to share your show with the world built right in. If you currently produce a podcast and are looking for a better media host or looking to start a new one from scratch, head over to orbitaljigsaw.com/BWO and sign up for the best media hosting and a PowerPress Deluxe site to get your first month absolutely free. That's orbitaljigsaw.com/BWO, or just use the promo code BWO at checkout for your first month free. And with that said, enjoy the show.
Hey guys, this is Garza, superstar from WWE, and you are listening to the Busted Wide Open podcast, to the most fresh news of the wrestling. So keep listening and just remember one thing: el Latino está en la casa, baby.
You're listening to the Busted Wide Open podcast, dropping the elbow on the hottest topics in sports entertainment and the world of professional wrestling. With your hosts, Nick Howell and Sir Ian Dangerous. Coming to you from the Orbital Jigsaw Network Arena in sunny Southern California. Welcome back to the Busted Wide Open podcast. But if this is your first time joining the show, I'd like to welcome you to episode number 231. My name is Nick Howell.
And overjoyed to congratulate our new U.S. champ, Carl Weathers, I am Sir Ian Dangerous. And welcome to the Busted Wide Open. What? It's not Carl. Apollo Crews.
Right.
Crews. I'm so sorry. I got him mixed up. Apollo Crews, not Creed. My bad. My bad. I must break him. Welcome to Busted Wide Open. That's right. The show where you can come and find out everything that happened over the last few days in the graps and the sports entertainments. We're talking today about Monday Night Raw. And as you may have just guessed, yes, some things went down this week on Monday Night Raw. It was actually a pretty exciting episode. And we also got the debut of the new kind of crowd that we're going to see in WWE, which we will be spending some time talking about because
I thought you were going to say the debut of BWO Daily.
BWO Daily? Why, Nick, what's that?
Why, BWO Daily is our new daily show that we're doing Monday through Friday now, every single day, trying to hit around 5 p.m. Eastern, but we're going to have news segments. Basically, it's a new way to deliver the other news lightning rounds to you in bite-sized daily segments. So there you go, guys. Launched this week, 2 episodes in. Hope you guys are enjoying it.
Check it out on the old YouTubes. Where we will be having those. The tubes of you. Get your daily news fix right here from Busted Wide Open. What a concept, Nick.
Right.
What a concept.
We have a YouTube channel, Ian.
We have a YouTube channel. We have a lot of things, Nick. Why don't you run down all the things that we have?
I will. We have a Facebook discussion group that a lot of people, we know there's thousands of you out there listening, but there's only about 500 or so people in the group. Come in the group, guys. We've been saying this for years. There's one other thing I wanted to do today, Ian. Before I do the housekeeping, I have to do something kind of special real quick.
Yeah.
Last week marked the 3-year anniversary of Busted Wide Open.
Was it last week?
I had to go look again. I thought it was the end of the month, like May 31st.
I thought so too, yeah.
It was actually May 18th.
Oh, crap.
So we missed it. We didn't even celebrate. So, happy anniversary!
We're guys.
Wide
we're not
open
good at remembering anniversary dates.
Dangerous.
Sorry.
I know. We're both guys. We forget dates.
Yeah, we
right?
don't know anniversary dates. It's just not in our DNA.
Terrible stereotype. I'm sure there are plenty of wonderful boyfriends and husbands out there that remember their dates.
And more power to you, gentlemen. More power to you. Teach me your Jedi ways.
But happy anniversary. We have lots of plans going into year 4. BWO Daily was one of those. More shows, more content, more often is really the MO. Bigger Patreon tiers, all kinds of good expansion there. We'll get more into that as we go forward here and get towards the end of the month over the next week or so. There's lots of things, including an all-new merch store update. Hello. Lots of that coming over the next week or so. But yes, come join us in Facebook. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at BWO Podcast. Make sure you're subscribed right here to the YouTube channel because we are doing daily content now that is exclusive exclusively available on YouTube.
Yes.
And last but certainly not least, thank you to all of our patrons. If you'd like to get in on some of those exclusives as well, it is the best way to support the show outside of just your wonderful word of mouth and telling everyone how amazing we are. But if you'd like to throw some of your hard-earned cash at us every single month, you can head over to patreon.com/BWO. Sign up for one of those reward tiers to get access to things like show notes, more content, additional bonus episodes, hell, the ability to have a Skype call with myself and Sir Ian Dangerous once a month is a lot of fun too. So patreon.com/BWO is the way to do that. But Ian, a lot happened last night that changed things quite a bit. We covered some of this.
Some shifts on the show.
Yeah, we covered
before we get to that,
this.
I gotta hit we have a super chat over here. We gotta hit real quick. Kyle threw us $4.99. Thank you very much, Mr. Kyle.
Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you very much, and thank you to everyone who does that throughout the show. He says, all those years of watching DX Hawk merch finally paid off for you guys. Love the daily show. Thank you. Yes. Speaking
if
of
you're
which,
not
yes,
down with that, no, I'm just kidding.
merch coming for you soon. Look, merch. We got stickers. We got T-shirts. We got all kinds of stuff coming through. And hawk.
Yeah.
Bye. It's coming. It's ramping up for the new season of Busted Wide Open. Year 4 now? We're going into year 4? Yeah, so
year 4. We've been doing this for 3 years, over 250 episodes, probably more closer to 300 if you include the bonuses from Patreon. So it's been an amazing ride with you, sir, and I can't wait to do 3 more with you. So let's do it, and let's kick off today.
3 more?
God.
As many more as happen. I know what you're saying. Go for it.
Eternity. Forever.
For Eternia.
Kind of like how long it's taken me to get this over to Monday Night Raw.
Well, this week on Monday Night Raw, looky, it's a different looky for Monday Night Raw. We've got a crowd back this week. Sort of. They had erected plexiglass over the tops of the barricades going all the way around the ring area behind the commentary and up the ramp. And behind said plexiglass, it looked like a mutant hockey arena. You had a whole bunch of properly socially distanced kids from the Performance Center and NXT stars. You might have recognized quite a few of them. One of the first people we saw, and I didn't really see her again, but one of the first people they got a good shot of was Simone Johnson, daughter of The Rock himself, out there in the crowd. Other people that we recognize, I saw Caden Carter out there. Shotzi Blackheart was impossible to miss for pretty much the entire show.
Right.
Rick Boogs was hiding over on one side. Aaliyah.
He's alive. He's really there.
He's still around. Aaliyah was there. Xia Li, Cal Bloom, Daniel Vidot, Santana Garrett. Marina Shafir was over on the side wearing a cute hat along with that other MMA chick they have in NXT whose name we don't mention. Malcolm Bivens was there throwing out some haterade for the entire show. And Dexter Lumis was there out of kayfabe, out of character, which I thought was bizarre. Like, there's not really a big program going for a few of the other women like Xia Li, Aaliyah, Caden Carter, and Shotzi, but he's in a major angle. And he was there without not being in character. That was strange. It was very strange. And yeah, throughout the entire show, they were standing there, no chairs, standing, obviously spaced out as much as they could for most of the show. There was some movement. And then, applauding and cheering throughout the show.
Yeah.
So this has been something that AEW, and we can't really talk about it without talking about it in the context of AEW, because AEW has been experimenting with crowds for the last few weeks, and they've done some different takes on how to do it. This is WWE's take. How would you compare what you saw on this show, the 3 hours of WWE's first experiment with crowds or with some crowd noise? How do you think that worked out? How did it look to you?
Lots to say here, so bear with me.
That's why this is the opening segment.
First and foremost, Abraham Castillo with the $3 super chat says, "Please don't say erected during this episode."
Did I already said it?
Didn't I? I'm sorry. Shit.
Oh, damn.
No, you said they erected plexiglass.
You just said it again.
You
said it again. Why are you saying erected? Oh, I've said it now. God damn it. Sorry, Abraham.
I want to fashion this in the way that mainly how I did in Discord. We were having a big dispute back and forth about it in Discord. There was a lot of judgment towards the plexiglass, the energy or lack thereof of the superstars that were in the audience, and they seemed to have less to do, and they might as well have been noisemakers, just sitting there making noise. Because what AEW has masterfully done is split the heels and the faces, have actual camera shots on them, and have them interacting with one another, going all the way back to MJF and Shawn Spears betting. Various antics. Pineapple Pete, born out of a side spot where Lance Archer just randomly knocked him out.
Jericho started calling out him.
And Jericho right. So plexiglass gave an interesting look to that shot up the ramp. It was almost like a mirrored funhouse kind of effect in a way, which was kind of cool. But after a while, that even after the second entrance, that wore off. So I'm concerned about the plexiglass. I'm concerned about the people that they've chosen. Even energetic little Caden Carter most of the time was seen sitting there just...
Shotzi even was kind of there were some people that maintained some energy, and there was parts where there was more energy than others. But then there was a lot of it. It did give the impression, I'm not saying this is what happened, but it gave the impression that they had all been given a list of rules of things you can and can't do, and they were all trying to think of what those were instead of just living in the moment. Whereas in AEW, it was just go for it. When I think of the AEW crowds, I think of Austin Gunn and Billy Gunn, and those guys are so goddamn energetic the entire show that they make Mojo Rawley look like Orange Cassidy. Like they are just they're freaking out the entire show. Right. And as you said, there's they split up the heels and the faces. Everyone's always doing something. They have their own. They're still in character. And I know that you can't really have the NXT people interacting in character with the main roster because that can blow some stuff, and they're worried about that. But it did seem very controlled. It did feel less natural, and I couldn't help it because it was just made so obvious how far apart everyone was standing from each other, but yet still they're in this fishbowl out there. And like, I don't know, Nick, if, how much we want to get into the science or like neither of us are doctors, but all I could think there was like, if I'm standing 5 feet from somebody and I'm screaming and yelling and like, huffing and puffing, spitting while I'm trying to project energy and possibly, making some plosives with my mouth, I'm spewing all kinds of,
respiratory
droplets into the... Yes. Thank you, Nick. Not a doctor, but you have the verbiage.
But I do play one on a podcast.
Hello. But you're spewing those into the air.
Right.
And it's all just swimming around in this soup over these guys. We know that they're not giving them the actual test for this. They're just checking their temperatures. People can be not asymptomatic. And the only thing they have there's no mask. All they have there is a weird plastic partition between them and the actual wrestlers, which we'll get into this, wasn't even a factor at the end of the show. So it was something where I could not help but look at that and say, they're making some arbitrary decisions here that really, at the end of the day, they have no compunction about throwing those out the window.
It's all appearance. It's all illusion.
It all feels like it's just done for appearance. Yep. On AEW, you've got people stacked next to each other. Like, it's very obvious in AEW, they're not keeping social distance. They are outside, but they're not even trying to keep up an appearance of social distance. They're just saying, look, all these people are backstage together. Like, we're all, we've got some people up in the crowds, but even then, they're not having this like very kind of calculated, look, we're staying 5 feet apart from each other, even though ultimately the setup that we have makes that irrelevant when you think of the actual science of it. So I couldn't help but think that. I couldn't help but feel that for most of the episode, it felt canned. They all cheered for the faces. They all booed the heels. It seemed very calculated, and that hurt the presentation.
There was one point where they were doing a backstage interview, and all you heard was "Mrrr," like somebody they were trying to boo them, but they actually just sounded like a herd of cows. Or what's the and the peasants rejoice. That's kind of what it sounded like. There's no actual interactive energy coming out of this. And I wanted to temper this at the very beginning, but I got into it too fast. I want to give them a chance to experiment. We gave AEW a chance. It took them a couple of weeks to find the formula, but they found it eventually, and it's gotten progressively better week after week. Take the plexiglass down. If they're in the building, you putting up plexiglass isn't protecting anything.
No,
Take
it's
that
just
down. Allow them to get up to the barriers like a crowd would.
Yeah.
You know, all of this stuff for show, you're making yourselves look stupider by even trying to do it in the first place.
Yeah.
If you're just going to do this, take them back out. That's kind of
the plexiglass is a condom made of linen. It's not really doing anything.
Right.
It's just kind of there. So but you're right, Nick. I wanted to lead this off with the criticism so that at the end, I wanted to say at least we had crowd noise. That was a big. It felt so good to have some noise there. Yeah. People for the wrestlers to play off of. It did give some more energy, even if it did feel a little forced at times. And as you said, it's just the first attempt at it, right? They're going to have to find. This is all unprecedented territory.
We got
They're
3 shows a week for them to figure it out.
Yep. Now
they're going to figure it out.
That being said, we're going to have to wait about 2 weeks to see the next iteration of this because they recorded 2 weeks worth of shows over these first few days. So they might change some things over these first few days, but it's going to look like this for the next couple of weeks. So we'll have to keep that in mind as well. We can be critical, but at the same time, I'm willing to let them look at it, and as they did already. You know, they looked at the empty arena shows and went, God, these sound like crap. We're at a point now where we feel like we can get away with having some people in there. It's just going to evolve as it goes. Hopefully they learn from their experiments, and we ultimately end up with a better product as a result. So, as we always say, Nick, hashtag skeptically optimistic.
Yeah. Kyle said something in the chat I want to address as well. Apparently, Dog Ziggler has an opinion on it, but he's said
skeptically optimistic is what he's saying. He's giving support for that concept.
Yeah, he said TSA is nothing but for show, so the plexiglass is probably going to stay. We have a word for that in the tech industry. We call it security theater. So if we could refer to this as medicinal theater. I don't know. That's all this is, guys. It's theater. It's medical theater. It's the illusion of safety when they shouldn't even be in the building if they've got any kind of indication that they might be ill.
Yeah, if they're saying that they're confident that these people are not contagious, then who gives a crap if they're 6 feet apart or 2 feet apart?
Exactly.
And that's kind of what AEW is doing. Is they're like, if they're in the building, they're fine. Yeah. That's our belief.
I'm sure there's waivers involved and all kinds of stuff too, and
Well, yeah, I mean, it's all it takes is for a couple of people to come down with something, and it all comes crashing.
We've all seen 28 weeks later, right?
Better than 28 days later. I'm just going to throw that out there right now.
Agreed.
Ooh, Jeremy Renner, early roll. Anyway, we that's getting off on a side topic. That's something that you go to Horrorpalooza for. But Nick, we got to talk about what actually happened on the show, not just how the show was presented. And let's start off by talking about the top feud, Lashley versus Drew McIntyre. We had quite a bit of business to do with that on this show. Started off with MVP inviting Drew out onto the VIP lounge.
I want you to just pause for 1 second and hear what you just said, that the top feud was Lashley and McIntyre. Rewind the clocks a year and tell your year-ago self that a year from now, the top feud on Monday Night Raw is going to be Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre. Would you have accepted that, or would you have been like, no?
Easily I would have.
Really?
Yes.
I would have had trouble accepting that.
You were the one that said McIntyre was going to win the Royal Rumble last year, way earlier than that last year. Right. You were calling it out last summer that McIntyre was going to get coronated. And Lashley is a guy that we've said for a long time just needs the right angle to be on the top of the card. So no, this is actually, it makes total sense. And looking at it, how it plays out, it does make total sense because my God, there was this show ended up with a brawl between these two and it looked fantastic. It was awesome. Now, it took a while to get there, of course. We had to have Drew McIntyre come out in the VIP lounge, trash the set, and tell MVP, "Where's Lashley? I want him." And MVP saying, "You're not going to get your hands on him because no contact, no contract. We're not seeing any of that until we get to Backlash." And McIntyre says, "Fine, I'll just kick your ass." At which point, Bobby Lashley does come out, and Drew McIntyre kicks the head off of MVP anyway. Lashley drags him to the back. And we find out later that MVP and Lashley have gotten into the face of the Street Profits, who already had like a weird segment with the Viking Raiders, but we'll get into that in a second. They called the Street Profits clowns for these weird segments with the Raiders, and I can't say they're entirely wrong, but the Profits took umbrage to that and said, "Cool, let's have a match later." So we end up with the bizarre main event of the Raw Tag Team Champions, the Street Profits, versus MVP and Bobby Lashley. McIntyre hears of this backstage in an interview, decides to go hang out. As he was leaving
the building, and he's like,
"I'm out.
Actually, maybe I'll go hang out for a little bit." I left something in the locker room.
Say that. Perhaps I'll go back to the locker room. I think I forgot something in the locker room. I'll be back. And off he goes. And sure enough, he ends up coming out at the end of the Street Profits Lashley MVP segment, which was actually, I was waiting for the Profits to get buried. And they didn't. They held their own, including at the end, Montez Ford doing one of his absolutely insane through-the-roof frog splashes onto MVP, and Lashley coming in to save him and putting Montez Ford in a full Nelson until the ref called for stoppage. So a DQ finish on a non-title bout, but it's still like I thought that was an elegant way to get out for everybody. Then McIntyre came out, and we had that huge brawl we were talking about. So there's a lot to get into here, Nick. But I kind of want to work backwards from the end.
Okay.
Just if you'd indulge me here, because we end with this big brawl. What, working backwards from the end?
No, starting at the end and working your way backwards. Yes.
Pause. So we end with this pull-apart brawl, and I say it's a pull-apart brawl because instead of having WWE security come to the ring and try and separate Drew McIntyre and Lashley, who were just going at each other, and it looked, and I reiterate, it looked great. These two have great chemistry. If you watch their feud in TNA, you know that they're when they get physical, it's just mwah. But instead of calling WWE security, the ref calls for some of the PC guys, the Performance Center dudes, who are out behind the plexiglass, and they just run from behind the plexiglass onto the stage, down the ramp, and try and pull apart McIntyre and Lashley. Starts with 2 of them, then he calls in 3 more, and then he calls in 4 more. 4 or 5 more. I lost count by that point. But by the end of this, all these people that are being held behind plexiglass, that are supposedly social distancing from everybody else, just in case someone might have gotten through and be contagious, they are all on top of each other, pulling apart Lashley and McIntyre. And the last thing we see on the show are these 2 mounds of people smushed against these wrestlers who they've been separated from by plexiglass for the entire show. So you want to talk about theater, and getting thrown out the window, and WWE being like, "You see, look, we're being so safe," and then just being like, "Oh, forget it, just go jump them." That blew my mind. I was sitting there going, "What are you doing?"
Not to mention having to stand there for 3 hours.
Yeah. I mean, I stand on my feet for 8 hours at a time. Like, okay, I've been to a show. I mean, we've all been to rock and roll shows or whatever, just concerts,
right?
Where you're on your feet. You're down in the general admission. You're on your feet for 5 hours at a time. Like, okay, I'm not gonna come down on for having people stand for 3 hours, 4 hours for this. Like, okay, it's fine. You can make it work. It's the breaking of that 4th wall, or that like illusion of safety. We're having everyone pull apart Lashley. Like, where was I could say WWE logic, but this goes far and far beyond that.
Do you think it would be something in the back where they're going, "Oh yeah, what'd be really clever is if we put on this presentation that we're being super safe, and we're going to put up these plexiglass walls, and then at the end we're going to go, ha, we were just kidding, and we're going to send everybody into the ring, and it'll be awesome, and that's how we'll close the show." Yeah, I what?
Should have thought twice about this one. About this one. I get the impulse to. I mean, you've got a whole bunch of wrestlers in the crowd, might as well use them. Yeah, but what was your overarching point of this? Was look how safe we're being, yet we still have crowd noise. Go us. And I'm like, you just threw that out the window. You just completely invalidated that point. So that was a big facepalm moment for me at the end of the show. Even though I liked the idea of the pull-apart brawl, it looked great. Lashley and McIntyre's energy and their intensity is absolutely selling this feud. Just that was a big stumble in terms of their supposed health presentation on the show.
Couple of super chats I want to hit real quick. Line Drive Kyle with $5 says, Drew and Lashley were trying to outdo Murder Grandpa's Young Lion count at the end of Raw last night.
Man, they got a long way to go.
That's a big mountain to climb.
Dude. Yeah. They're still in Timbuktu if they're trying to climb Everest on that count.
Yeah. Brad Shepard also with a $5 super chat. Thank you, sir. Just because I haven't been on a live chat in a while. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Brad.
Thank you, Brad Shepard.
Good to have you, man.
The good Brad Shepard.
Yes.
For those of you who are new to the show.
Our
Brad Shepard. The good one. Thank you very much, Brad. We appreciate that very much, sir. So let's work backwards a little bit more. Let's talk about that Street Profits match. What's the logic behind having the Street Profits in a non-title match when they're currently having a weird sports feud thingy with the Viking Raiders? And we had them this week doing golf. They get kicked off the golf course. They have to go play putt-putt golf, pee-wee golf, whatever you want to call it. Okay, cute. For some reason, Ivar pulls a turkey leg and a drink out of a hole. I don't know. It was more kind of tomfoolery and nonsense. And then they said, okay, next week we're going to have a bowling match. So this will continue.
Fantastic.
God help us all. So first of all, you've got them doing this ridiculous thing with the Viking Raiders. They get called out on that, by the way, and respond by having an actual match and then looking good in that match. So, okay, at least they're kind of addressing the elephant in the room. But then they're also doubling down on said elephant and saying, we're doing it again next week. And where does that leave the Viking Raiders, who are the team are supposed to look like a legit team? They even had the golf cart collapse underneath them because they're too fat, apparently, I guess.
Well, just Ivar.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, get it? He's overweight.
My inner 12-year-old was doing a full butt head. Just
well, unfortunately,
I guess that's the target audience.
That's a 74-year-old, 12-year-old backstage going, this is the kind of humor people want.
Right.
And I'm here to
Fat
say...
jokes and toilet humor. Fantastic.
Right. He took a golf ball to the nuts. That's great stuff. So
I agree with you. What does this mean for... I'm going to put to bed War Machine. They're not my War Machine anymore.
Nope.
They're
not. Well, they're welcome to WWE.
Yes. So where this was weird for me was you've got a feud building for the WWE Championship with Bobby Lashley. Someone has finally resurrected that man's career. And now you're going to take a hard left and go with an old wily vet in MVP and go have a non-titled tag team match and tell them to bring that smoke?
Well,
like what?
It sounds random, but it was a good match. In fact, I'm going to say this right now, Nick, before people think we're dumping on the show. There was a lot of really good matches this week, like fantastic matches that in some ways seemed random, but they were good. That Street Profits MVP Lashley match was very entertaining.
It was.
It was peppy. It had great action. It had great energy. There was good charisma. It was interesting to watch Lashley work with these two guys. Like MVP, like he did everything that was required of him. So I was actually pleasantly surprised with the end result. It just on paper seems bizarre.
It does. Looking at it here in the note, I'm going, this really happened? Like, why I understand the ending with Lashley going out and confronting and having physicality with McIntyre coming out. But I'm wondering it makes sense if you think about it that the whole thing was a setup just to have physicality between McIntyre and Lashley.
And also, let's call it a spade.
You needed to get them back out to the ring, so let's have the Street Profits come in and have a match. Sure,
and also, I thought they protected the Street Profits. They had, like, Montez had MVP beat Cole. Lashley came in and got DQ'd. Like, okay, they acted like tag champs, guys who can win a tag match against a thrown-together team. So, all in all, not much to complain about here. No. Just some head-scratching stuff with Viking Raiders and the direction of the tag division in general. But that's kind of par for the course. And again, like we said, I'm loving MVP being Lashley's mouthpiece. He's knocking that out of the park. I'm loving the little, like the weird drama that's going on with Lana is an interesting little side piece, pardon the pun, to this whole story where she's like, she comes in just kind of just staring at MVP and it's like, we got something to talk about. He's like, no, we don't. And then she comes up after MVP gets kicked in the face by Drew and tries to offer him ice. And he just like, man, get out of here. And Lashley's giving her the cold stare. And she just really mad. I'm curious what their end game is with her. Like, this is an interesting little side story here.
She's going to cost Lashley the title opportunity at Backlash.
And I think that's
like
an interesting way to take it.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at that if that's what they're going for like this. And they're built, you know why? They're building it at a slow pace. It doesn't feel thrown together. They're not answering why these things are happening. These are little plot pieces that are being put together at an evenly paced rate. Yeah. And that's, yes, good. So
Kyle with another $5 super chat. Thank you, sir. If this Profits Raiders thing is a best of 7, can we at least make the final round be a game of Double Dare since they are in Orlando anyway?
Either that or Uno. I'd love to see Uno.
Right.
We want the smoke. Well, you're getting a draw 4.
Yeah, right.
Oh! Reverse does not count as a skip.
Is that? I guess that's the whole thing, right? That's the whole.
That was pretty much it. That was the whole thing. There was a lot of things on the show where there was a whole thing to talk about. There's a lot more that we had to discuss on this show, but yeah, they did a lot with a few different feuds in just doing the main feud. So I dug them. I dug the way that they wove this together.
Yeah. Well, the next thing we got to talk about is we actually had a title change happen on Monday Night Raw. As of the events of the last couple of weeks, Apollo Crews finally got his U.S. title opportunity against Andrade.
Yeah.
And after the fallout of Austin Theory and now what we know has happened, I think this is important because I think it's going to be interesting to see where Zelina, Andrade, and Garza go from here.
Well, this is the interesting thing. So they've actually been telling a long-term story with Apollo Crews here too, where he was in the running for Money in the Bank, couldn't make it because his leg gave out in his match against Andrade, and so was disqualified from Money in the Bank after winning his match to get in. So he had a beef with Andrade. I remember he was very emotional about that. He felt like he missed an opportunity. You were mad at him because he was showing, manly emotions in the hallway. Well, here he is. He finally gets his shot back at Andrade, and in another very nicely worked, exciting match that kind of ended a bit abruptly, I felt, but still was a strong match, Andrade ends up pulling off a win. Apollo ends up pulling off a win over Andrade, who then goes to the back and starts breaking stuff and throwing stuff around. Apollo Crews is your new U.S. champion, his first title in WWE. So a big moment for him. He was obviously very emotional about it.
But he held
a great
it together?
Promo. He did held it. Yes, Nick. He held it together this time. He was able to stuff down those emotions and hold them in check like a real man.
That's what you do.
Because real men don't cry.
You wait till you're off camera. You choke it back. Then you go in the locker room, you take a shower, and you have yourself a good cry.
Right. Stuff them down because that's very healthy.
Yep.
So he wins the title. He gives a really fire promo afterwards being like, no one believed in me, but I believed in myself, and now I'm the champion, so there you go. And next week we know that he's able to pick his first opponent for said title. So a couple of questions here. Just random Raw. Andrade goes out to what up until now has been some pretty basic moves from Apollo. Was this kind of an ignominious way for him to lose this title, which he's had for so long? Or was it just time and the right guy to put it on and deserved by Apollo after his work over the last few weeks? What did you think about the nature of this title change and the fact they decided to do this now?
Where's my tinfoil hat? Hang on.
Oh no.
So
not the tinfoil hat.
I have a hunch Andrade might be the first opponent of the new Intercontinental Champion once we get past this tournament.
Is that tinfoil hat irradiated or something? What actually that's a different brand entirely. Are you saying Andrade's going to go over to SmackDown?
Like that's
now?
mattered in the last 2 to 3 weeks.
But he's going to suddenly get traded to SmackDown like that's while he still has Garza there.
Exactly
Like
what they did with AJ Styles after they buried him alive.
They've already.
So you're telling
AJ
me
Styles.
that's
Who are they going to bring from SmackDown to Raw? Like, come on, let's go down all the way down your rabbit hole. So okay, so who's going from SmackDown to Raw? What are you? Come on, man.
Yeah.
Keep it within some.
Daniel Bryan or AJ Styles, or even if it's Jeff Hardy, you could have one. You could have one of them move, or listen.
He's in a feud with Sheamus. Oh my God.
Okay.
You're killing me.
All right.
You're killing me. I personally think this feud's not done yet. I feel like we're gonna have a couple of people working with Apollo, and then we'll get back to Andrade by the next pay-per-view. Yeah. I don't think this is over yet. They've had a good feud so far. So I'm curious to see where this goes next, but I think there's enough story here that you could continue this. And the fact that they had Andrade kind of blow up afterwards makes me think that he's going to want to get his championship back. So
Kyle makes a good point. What if Angel Garza goes and gets it off of Apollo? Now they have inner turmoil within the group again.
Well, for that to happen, we'd have to have another feud that seems to be brewing not happen. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. I think Angel Garza's busy right now.
Real quick,
we'll get into that.
Chris, 1978, with $10 in the super chat says, "Just want to say, what's up, guys? Your show is the best." Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, man. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Right in the feels.
No crying though, Nick. At the end of the day,
choking it down till the end of the show.
So let's say Andrade is not the next opponent. It's not Garza. Who all is still active right now that he could really feud with? As right now, he's still a face. But where is he going? It kind of has to be Andrade or...
Yeah. I mean, unless one of them, Murphy or Theory come after it.
But they're busy with other stuff too.
I know.
So let's talk about some of the other people that are also busy right now. Kevin Owens opened up the whole show with the KO show, where he was initially having Asuka out. And if you've seen the opening to Raw once, you've seen it a million times. We've got a show segment. You call somebody out, then everyone else comes out to interrupt them, and we end up with a pull-apart brawl that sets up a match later. Well, they did it again. Asuka comes out to talk to KO, gives a little speech about how no one is ready for Asuka, essentially. And then you have her interrupted by Charlotte Flair, who says, "Asuka, I've beaten you a lot of times before, and when I get this number one contenders match under my belt, I'll be coming for you again." Out comes Natty to say this, essentially a similar thing, is I'm going to win, and then I'm going to come for you, Asuka. And then out comes Nia Jax to say, yep, I'm going to beat you too, Asuka, when I get my hands on you. And Kevin Owens, by this point, has stepped out of the ring and taken everything out of the ring because he doesn't want Natty trashing his set. He doesn't want to get beat up by Nia Jax. At which point he says to Asuka, whatever you do, don't hit Nia in the face. And Asuka kind of looks up and goes, oh, doink, hits Nia right in the face, and then the brawl starts. And end of the segment. And sure enough, later on, we not only had the number one contenders match for the Raw Women's Championship between Nia Jax, Natty, and Charlotte, but we also had a match between Kevin Owens and Angel Garza. Now, let's do the number one contenders match first here.
Before we do that,
okay,
can I just say what a treasure Kevin Owens is? His acting and his improv and all of the stuff that he was doing, circling around all of these ladies in the ring to keep it interesting. Listen, we all know Natty's not the best promo. Charlotte Asuka in there was fantastic. And then Nia comes out, and it's like a double down on snooze fest, right?
Oh, come on.
Listen, so Kevin Owens, as Natty's coming out, starts clearing the ring so that he can save all of his props this time, and she won't tear him up. And so she won't have another tantrum, forcing her to also do a little bit of, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to have a tantrum, blah, 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 blah. But then Kevin just getting out of the way and doing the things that he does. I mean, they must trust him just indefinitely to do whatever he wants to do out there and just kind of make it up. He is brilliant, absolutely brilliant at this kind of stuff. And I wanted to give a good old hat tip to KO for how he opened the show.
But the problem was it felt like this whole segment, even with him trying his hardest and Asuka trying her hardest and being awesome. Oh, in fact, I wouldn't say any of these ladies really sucked in what they were doing. It's just the whole thing felt awkward and staged, and as it always does when they do these things, and the whole thing feels stagey.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
More talk shows, guys. That's what we need on a wrestling show is talk shows.
I didn't need this.
No.
I was already hyped for this match, and when you had this number one contenders match, it was really good. It was a great match.
Yeah.
It was exciting. There was a lot of false finishes, some huge moves. Nia Jax got double powerbomb through the announce table. Enough said. You also had Asuka on commentary, which is always gold, and every time they cut to her, she had better expressions and more energy than everyone in that crowd combined.
Yep.
Which is why she's Asuka. But they didn't need this opening segment.
No.
It didn't even kill that much time. I don't know. I felt like there was other things that they could have put here. You could even let like some of the matches run a little longer, like have the Andrade Apollo match run a little longer.
Yeah, give it 5 more minutes.
You didn't need it. Yeah. 5 or 10 more minutes. You didn't need this.
I agree.
So
I think KO and Asuka interacting at the beginning would have been enough. Have the rest of them just come out later. I like the idea of opening with a champion and closing with a champion, bookending it that way. But the whole thing of KO interacting with Asuka as if he understood everything she was saying. And then when Natty came out putting all this stuff, I just thought it was absolutely brilliant on his part.
Could even have had it simple. Kevin Owens comes out, Asuka comes out. He asks Asuka her opinion on each of the women that are in the triple threat match. And she, says something like wacky and different about each one of them, and it's entertaining as hell.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's it. And that would have been entertaining and less awkward than what we had. But at the end of the day, like I said, we ended up having a great women's match. At the end of it, it was just, who's going to get this final pin? Bunch of submissions get thrown. But ultimately, Nia, as you probably, if you'd given me $100, I'd have put every single cent of it on Nia Jax pinning Natalya, which she did. Samoan drop 1, 2, 3. Nia Jax is your number one contender for Asuka. Makes the most sense. Most immediate history between the two. Nia was supposed to be Becky's first opponent. She was the next in line for this. So makes all the sense in the world, frankly. Agreed. So do you think so, or is there anyone else you'd rather have?
I agree, and I'm thankful they didn't just hand it to Charlotte,
Well, are you mad that Charlotte was in this match? Or would you rather have seen that shot go to someone else?
That shot go to someone else. It made no sense.
Like who?
Does it give some kind of credence, or does it make it a bigger match because of it? Why have a triple threat in the first place? Didn't we already do this where Nia came out and dominated?
My issue was more that Charlotte is already a champ. So why is she going for another championship?
Why is she fighting for another number one contender spot for yet another championship?
It's not even that it's Charlotte. Like I know that there's a lot of people that they feel like they're kind of over Charlotte. There's too much Charlotte going on right now.
I think it's just right. They found just right Charlotte.
It's a little much. It's a little bit much. But again, one of the best workers, if not the best worker in the division. Now with Becky gone, probably their top female star.
Right.
I think before you could have argued it, but now inarguably. But that's a spot that could have gone to somebody else. It would have made Nia winning seem more obvious, perhaps. But at the same time, I don't know if Charlotte needed to be there. The only reason I can think of is that Charlotte said to Asuka, you and I still have unfinished business, but I always beat you. And we've already had it announced that next week it will be Charlotte versus Asuka, champion versus champion on Raw. So
why are they giving that away on a TV show?
I can only imagine that Nia interrupts or something, and it's left open-ended. So we're left wanting more Charlotte and Asuka in the future. It's the only thing I can think about that.
I can think of several people that should have had that spot over Charlotte, but whatever. It is what it is. Look at Charlotte as being an absolute rock star right now. She's doing everything they're asking her to. She's going to every single show.
With aplomb.
She feels important when she comes out. I can't knock anything they're doing with Charlotte. I can't sit here and say I wouldn't be doing the exact same thing as a booker if I had a Charlotte Flair in my back pocket.
Yeah. I mean, you have alternatives. You got Shayna Baszler, Bianca Belair, Ruby Riott, all on Raw. All could have been in that slot. And it's worrisome.
I'd have given it to them before Natalya.
Yeah, wily veteran, can pull off this match. And honestly, I don't know. We got a good match out of it. I will just say that. So let's talk about Kevin Owens and Angel Garza. So during the Apollo Crews and Andrade match, they cut to Angel Garza backstage watching the match, and he was giving an interview. And during this match, he compared a wrestling match to making love to a beautiful woman.
Now he's going after Kayla Braxton too.
Yeah, well, he's thrown out everywhere, man. He's the native Lothario.
Yeah.
El Latino is en la casa, baby.
Yeah.
He's slinging that Garza dong all over the place.
Hey now.
And he's saying, yes, a wrestling match is like making love to a beautiful woman. It starts off with you looking across the room at each other, eyeing each other, looking at each other's supple bodies, covered in sweat and ready to engage. And then you smash together in the middle of the ring, all of the action and passion. Oh, yes, it's so beautiful. And then afterwards, you're lying there in ecstasy. Oh, you ecstasy and passion. It's all over the place, and you're spent.
Passion.
And then you wait to do it all over again. I was laughing so freaking hard at this, Nick.
He just kept going and going.
He kept going. Can I give some props to my boy Angel Garza for taking what could have been absolutely cringe-inducing material and making it cringe-inducing in the best way possible?
Right.
It was. If
that had been Val Venus or somebody, we would have been going.
Oh
no.
It felt a little bit like it's kind of that same wheelhouse.
Yeah, but because he's Latino, it comes across as like sensual.
I don't know about that. It's just because it's him. It's just because it's him doing it. It's just good character work. It's cringy, it's gross, it's hilarious all the same time. And it's also exactly what his character should be doing. If you're going to have him be like, go all the way and turn it up to WWE 11, he's like, that's all right. He likes to make love to all the beautiful women. Like we always joke about on this show, where it's like, hide your sister, hide your wife, hide your mother, hide your grandmother. Because Angel Garza is coming to town. He's going to rip off his pants. And once they get a view of the beautiful Garza dong, they will not have anywhere to run but towards the Angel Garza. So, but that's okay. So here we've got Angel Garza running his mouth about how wrestling matches are like making love to a beautiful woman. Well, if that's the metaphor he wants to go with, his match with Kevin Owens was he's got a hell of a way of making love, because what he did was jump him early, focus on a body part, and relentlessly press for a surprise early finish, after which he gets in one final shot before he runs away. I don't think that's what a beautiful woman really wants in a lovemaking session, but hey, apparently that's what Angel Garza brings to the table when he's gonna fight you in the ring. My goodness. So this was actually, it was fascinating, because I thought Kevin Owens was gonna put Angel Garza away.
I didn't actually, for what it's worth.
He chop blocks Kevin Owens before the match. My goodness, I'm all excited. He chop blocks Kevin Owens as Kevin Owens is coming to the ring. So Kevin's got a bum leg the entire match. He focuses on that. At one point, Kevin's got him beat dead to rights, pop-up powerbomb, but he can't pull it off because of the leg. So Angel Garza locks in the wing clipper, and boom, Kevin Owens goes down relatively clean to Angel. I mean, yes, obviously bum leg, but he still goes down to Angel Garza, who pulls off the win here. Like I said, getting in one final shot, kicking Kevin Owens a little bit before he leaves. So we're talking earlier about Angel possibly transitioning to the U.S. title. He's dealing with Kevin Owens now. We got a feud between Angel Garza and Kevin Owens. And the fact that they let Angel get in a win like this over Kevin Owens, to me, says they really do see some equity in Angel Garza.
Big time. Oh, they fast-tracked him. He's like 9 months into the company, if you include NXT stuff. When was he doing that with his initial debut? Last August or September? Like 9 months now? And he's already at the upper mid card on Raw.
Yeah, he's working with former Universal champions in Kevin Owens. Yeah. He's getting they're giving him
former Universal champion.
Beating, and also, to be clear, when they give you the opportunity to cut a promo like that and you take it out of the park like that, that's called grabbing the brass ring.
Yep.
So he has definitely been catching them brass rings right and left, which is why he's getting these opportunities. So is this the best place for both these guys to be in? It seems like a bit of a step down for Kevin Owens, or is this something that could ultimately benefit him after his awesome Seth Rollins program.
Short of the NXT title run that he had, my favorite Kevin Owens was his U.S. title run. And I don't know if that was because he had the Jericho thing, the best friends angle, or he was the face of America. That whole shtick, if you guys remember that from a couple years ago. I'm not sure, but I like Kevin Owens around the U.S. title. There's something about it that just clicks. And if Angel Garza's in that picture too,
he's had actually. Yeah, I'm actually going to argue counter to you because he's had some really bad luck with the U.S. title.
Sure.
Remember that he and Chris Jericho had to settle for the U.S. title, end up having a crap match at WrestleMania, according to Vince. And then that was also the one where they had the botched spot with him and AJ Styles. Like the U.S. title has not been that kind to Kevin Owens. And maybe there's a redemption to be had there, but
sure.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like he's got a path back to it. But maybe he's helping to elevate Angel Garza here.
Exactly. Is he setting up? Is he staging Angel Garza to go face Apollo Crews for the U.S. title? That feels like it could be a inevitability.
Yeah, and if so, then I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. Again, Angel Garza not only looked great in this match, but was great backstage with that absolutely ridiculous speech that totally cracked me up. And to that, I also say that Chris, 1978 in the chat, threw us $2. Thank you, sir. And he says, "Hello, ladies," in the creepy Val Venus voice.
Never do that again.
They have practiced that. All you do is
have to do your towel
wear
dance
a towel.
Too.
That's right. The big Valboski's come to town to say, ladies, if you need a ride home, the big Valboski is the only ride you need. Moving on, we had Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins had quite a bit to do tonight, too. He introduced his newest disciple, Austin Theory, who is now also doing the little hand gesture just like Buddy Murphy. Seth now has a couple of goons by his side. And Seth also was holding Rey Mysterio's mask and saying that, yeah, I kind of nearly took Rey's eye out with the ring steps, but it was all for the greater good because it may mean that Rey can finally go out in a blaze of glory. And ultimately, it means that I've got one less guy in my way. So it is for the greater good. And thank you, Rey, for your sacrifice. I hope you feel good knowing that you sacrificed for me and my boys here. He then has both his boys speak about how great he is. Murphy saying, yeah, I was lost until Seth came along. And Austin says, yeah, my friends didn't like me. And then Seth told me that I'm a great person. So yay, we're all buddies now, especially Buddy Murphy. So they all go and have a match. Seth's ringside. Aleister Black and Humberto Carrillo versus Austin Theory and Buddy Murphy. Excuse me, just Murphy. My God, Nick. We're going to talk about the end of this match, but I want to talk about the match itself really quickly.
Yeah.
Aleister Black, Humberto Carrillo, Buddy Murphy, just Murphy, and Austin Theory. That's just...
It's not fair.
I mean, it's not fair.
No.
It's not fair. That's a match you tell me about, and I just go put it in my eye holes, and then when I have it in my eye holes, I go put more in my eye holes. My eye holes can take it. Because there's just so much good about this. This is 4 absolutely outstanding workers going out there and just putting on a clinic of a 10-minute match, 7-8-minute match. Just nonstop action, smooth as silk, multiple striking hits that just look absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
This was freaking awesome. And if this is a taste of things to come, consider me appetized.
Yes.
Holy crap.
The things I want to say about this are more to do with what happened after the match. And I agree with everything you just said. It was an absolute spectacle to see these 4 guys. I do want to throw in a little tidbit, a little dangling of a carrot, that it is out there now that Aleister Black has been working with Undertaker on his presence, on his entrance, on his being. And I'm sitting here going, yes. My evil maniacal just comes over and goes, yes, because they listen.
Yeah. No, Aleister said that on his Twitch stream.
One thing that I wanted way back when we were about to bring Ricochet and Aleister Black up, I was like, Black
Please,
has
Taker.
the potential
Yeah.
to be the next Taker. He could be the next, like, undead warlock necromancer kind of weirdo that has
Sure.
this super fantastical kind of role, and they've botched his interest up mostly. But if
Well-
he's working with Taker now on that kind of stuff, I'm just
What I took
Yes.
away was more about presence and how to project that kind of character was what I took away from his interview.
yes.
And that's what Taker was talking to him about. But yeah, no, that definitely made my neck hair stand up on end, and just got the tinglies all over. Hearing that Taker was kind of taking Alistair under his wing, knowing that Alistair was playing a character that, in terms of how he needs to be perceived by the crowd, is very similar to Taker. And I don't think that he's going to go and be another Taker. I don't think that's even what he should be doing. But in terms of, I mean, who better to go talk to than a guy who spent most of his career playing a very serious, brooding, dark character? That's the perfect person that Alistair could be talking to.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Totally.
much excite there. But you're right. We need to talk about the end of this match, which was ultimately Austin Theory getting the better of Humberto Carrillo, taking him out with the ATL, and then them all dragging Carrillo out to ringside. And as Alistair grabs a chair and comes after them, they say, "Stop, or else we're going to take out this kid's eyeball on the stairs." And Seth starts screaming at Alistair, like, "You're going to stay out of my way, or I'm going to hurt you guys. You're going to, toss the chair, toss it out of the ring,
The
or I'm
way
going to
that he
stab
was
his eye
looking
out."
at and talking to Black, too, is like,
This-
oh my goodness.
If you remember, Seth did this a while back when he was a heel, when he had Edge in the ring, and Cena was coming down to the ring, and he put his foot on Edge's neck and said, "Stay the hell back or I'll break his goddamn neck. I swear I'll do it." This was the same kind of like creepy, oh my God, Seth is
Yeah.
a psychopath kind of feel. Great. Fantastic. It made them come across as genuinely dangerous and vicious and scary. I can't say enough good about this whole feud. Not between the people involved and the brutality, the viciousness, the creepiness of Seth Rollins right now. Love it all. It's mwah, they're doing it gangbusters. And the added bonus of the fact that we've got announced next week on Raw, Rey Mysterio is going to retire. That's right, Nick. Next week on Raw, we're having a retirement ceremony for Rey Mysterio. Man, it's been a long, great road. It's sad to see him ride off into the sunset like this, but that contract is up, and I guess it's time for him to say goodbye. It's so sad. It's so sad, Nick, that he had to go out in this way, and they're going to have this. I can't even keep this up, Nick. This is just a big swerve.
You also had Seth carrying around one of his masks, his purple mask, all show, including all the way up to the end, and they kept mentioning Dominic.
Oh,
you know
come
where
on,
my
Nick.
head's going here.
No, can you just stick to reality for once? Dominic's not going to come out as the new Rey Mysterio.
Not
He's
the
not
new
gonna
Rey
come out as
Mysterio,
Sin
but
Cara.
he's going to come out and in the purple mask and convince his dad to stay and say that he wants to. Anyway, Dominic's going to get involved in this somehow.
No, God, no.
Yep.
No. Just have it be Rey, like Rey wants to retire, and he can't take it. He gets pissed at Seth, and he takes him out. And then we have Rey Mysterio, Aleister Black, and Humberto Carrillo versus Seth, Buddy Murphy, and Austin Theory.
Yeah, put that all the way in my eye
All
holes.
the way in my eye holes. Even if it's like, if it just breaks down to Rey versus Seth, Black versus Murphy, Carrillo versus Theory, the guys that individually have the feuds going on,
Yeah.
or 3-on-3, or any. You just booked yourself about 3 months worth of matches right there,
Right.
because you can mix and match that in 18 different ways, and I will happily watch any of those freaking matches.
That's roadmap all the way to SummerSlam, baby. Let's get
Seriously.
it.
So,
Kyle just said Mark Henry's FedExing the salmon jacket to Ray.
yep, he's going to come out in a salmon mask. Mark my words.
Oh.
It's gonna be that nice, like salmon coming down here. Hold
Yeah.
on, where's my Ray mask? It's behind me. There it is. There's my Ray. So these are going to be salmon right here. It's a couple of salmons. And we'll have there's some locks right up here. This will be like a locks colored. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, yeah, no, agreed. This is Ray's going to retire. No, he's not. We mentioned Edge a second ago, Nick. Edge is in a feud with Randy Orton. Ric Flair put out a TikTok video of some sort to say how great Orton was. Had to call his boy out. Woo! Say how great Orton was. Woo! But then Edge had a backstage promo. And it was very like muted and dark, and he was very introspective. It's like, you've had 1,086 matches while I was out injured. I know, I did the research. And it was really dark and brooding and questioning himself, like, can I still do it? I mean, I've gone hold for hold with The Undertaker. I've elevated everybody that I've been in a feud with. Like, I know that I'm good, but can I still do it? Well, at Backlash, I'm going to dig to the very depths of my soul to try. And that's all a man can do. And then it cuts to the greatest wrestling match ever. It's going to happen at Backlash. So this is, Nick, this is what drove me nuts about this. Edge cuts an absolutely money promo. Like, just, you can tell the guy's been doing some, sorry to put it this way, some real acting. He's been off on movies and TV. He's taken acting classes. The dude's out here putting on a monologue. It's not a promo. It's a monologue. And then they immediately cut to this hyperbole, this bombastic nonsense they're promoting this match with, the greatest wrestling match ever, Edge versus Randy Orton at Backlash. Do you feel that they're undercutting the work that everyone's putting in for this match by putting such ridiculous hyperbole on top of it, such unattainable goals on this match?
If it doesn't end in a immediate RKO and a 1-2-3, and we walk out after this whole thing, I'm going to be severely disappointed.
Can you imagine?
Yes, I can.
Ding, 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 RKO. The
just
match
as
is
a
over.
double finger to everybody that
trolling,
thought. Oh, yeah.
If they're trolling, I'm going to come back and be like, that was awesome. Way to go, WWE. You got us. Brilliant. Like, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
But if they actually go out there and do 20 minutes of actual wrestling, I'm going to pull my hair out.
I mean, it's Randy Orton
so
and Edge.
mad.
How upset are we going to be about it? It's not
going to be
effing greatest wrestling match ever.
But this is what we've been saying. We know it's going to be good. We know it's going to be good. At worst, it will be serviceable. Like, that's me being pessimistic. It'll be, oh, that was a good match. That's at worst. At best, it will not be the greatest wrestling match ever. And all due respect to both of these guys.
Yeah.
All due respect. It is just not. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry. It's just not. At best, it could be really, really good. Maybe match of the year. Like, just me being as optimistic as possible. Take out the skepticism.
Yeah.
Maybe match of the year. All time? Get the hell out of here.
Match of the year last year was Ospreay Takagi.
Which, by the way, is
this
free.
Isn't gonna hold.
It's free right now. I
candle.
put it in the Facebook discussion group.
Yes, you
it's
did.
For free. You can watch it, and it's so.
This isn't gonna hold a candle to what Ospreay and Takagi did last year. I'm sorry. I love both Randy Orton and Edge, and I have for 20 years. I love everything they've done.
Yeah, agreed. Kyle in the chat, $4.99 says, "What if this tagline is a swerve, and it's a wrestling musical? They are sampling the Greatest Showman soundtrack.
Yeah,
for the greatest wrestling match
ever.
This
is the greatest show. Whatever that song is.
Right.
Except sung much better.
Look down, don't look Edge in the eye. Look down, RKO will make you die." No? I mean, Edge does look Les Miserables this week. I'm just saying. Okay.
Yeah.
Musical jokes aside, I hope it's a swerve. I hope it's a swerve. The only save for it. It could be, Nick, not a swerve. It is going to happen. IIconics are still in a feud with Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. But I got to say, this week, I liked what they did with them. You had the IIconics come out and complain about how they just don't get any shots.
Yeah, I know.
Titles.
How about we build some storyline into the women's tag team
and
division?
They did.
Yes.
They did.
Yes.
They said, why are the champions some crazy lady and the office's favorite blonde? Nice. Okay. Shots fired. Well,
Yes.
out come Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss, and Nikki goes off about how hard it was to get those titles. That's great. That's good. That's what you should be doing. You have the champs putting over how important the titles are. You have the champs showing fire about being challenged. You have the challengers acting like heels and crapping on the, like heels should, on the champs, calling into question their legitimacy. Yes, exactly. And then it ends in a brawl, ends in physicality. Boom, 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 boom. Simple. 1, 2, 3. Great.
Yes.
Now I know why they hate each other. Now I've, the champs' legitimacy has been called into question. They fierily defend it. Boom. Great.
Love it.
Loved it.
This was one of my favorite things that happened on Raw. It's
Yeah.
funny. Yeah, it was. I was like, oh my God, finally. Somebody's telling a story.
This has just become a sleeper feud for me. Like,
Yep.
low key, I'm like, oh, now I'm invested. So
And then
well
they
done
turn around and beat
on
the
that.
absolute shit out of Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. And I was like,
Great.
All right,
Which is
yes.
also what should happen. Then the
Yes.
heels get the heat on the champs. Yep. 101.
Exactly.
101 executed perfectly. Mwah. Move on. Liv Morgan cutting another babyface-ish promo, talking about how this is all she's ever wanted to do. She's living her best life.
Speaking of people that have been on a run that should have been in a triple threat for the contendership, here's one.
Yeah, why is she doing these promos talking about how my life was so hard, but now like things are getting better and I'm only going to get better and better? Okay, well, great. What are you going to do besides talk about it? I mean, just in kayfabe. Go out and get it, woman.
Yeah.
Go out and do something.
Let's put Charlotte and Natalya in this.
Knock down some doors. Go KO the champ. Like, go get it. Don't just sit there and be like, I'm living my best life. Like, go do something.
Yep.
So yeah, it's they're spinning the wheels on her a little bit. I don't know if this is relatable either. This is something where it's
I get
Aleister
Aleister Black in the closet vibes off of this, and I'm
as
scared
long
of it.
as she ends up where Aleister Black has ended up post closet, then yes.
Yeah.
We can spin some wheels as long as we ultimately get somewhere. So
I like these. I don't mind them. There's 10 other things I'd rather her be doing. Like have yet another match with someone.
Well said.
They're fine. I don't want to knock the promos themselves. They're great. Coming from nothing, finding your way, great babyface stuff. But just why you have her in a closet doing this stuff? She had great matches with Ruby Riott 2 weeks in a row. And now we've done this for 2 weeks in a row. And I'm going, what the F, guys? Come on. And you're putting Natalya and Charlotte Flair in a number one contenders triple threat after that.
You've got two major women's feuds right now, IIconics and Bliss Cross, and then you've got the few women at the top of the card with Nia Jax, Charlotte, Natty, Asuka. Shayna's still around there somewhere. Bianca Belair's out there somewhere. Ruby Riott, and then here's Liv Morgan. So there's a third level you could have with your women's division right now instead of that. Kind of crappy opening to the show, you could have had another women's match.
Yep.
Just saying.
Yep.
You've got the talent for it. Yep. Also, another fun segment, Gronkowski. Rob Gronkowski, current 24/7 champion. Rob Gronkowski. Nick, a quick pause. You said earlier, if I told you a year ago that Lashley and McIntyre were in a feud, I'd be confused.
Okay.
6 months ago, if you said Rob Gronkowski 24/7 champion, I'd probably be like, oh no. Oh God, no. But here we are. It's happened. It's a reality. Rob Gronkowski is your 27 champion. And I'm not going to lie, Nick. I'm not mad at it.
It's a good promo.
I'm not mad at it because it was actually a pretty good promo. He turns his sunglasses around backwards and says, I got eyes in the back of my head, dude. And R-Truth is sitting here going, I finally figured out, someone clued me in, that it wasn't Tom Brady after all. It was Rob Gronkowski that has the 24/7 champion. I'm coming for you, football man. I'm coming for you. I'm in. Okay, you got me. I'll watch. I'm wondering when this comes to a head. Does it come to a head? I would have to imagine before preseason, right? They're not going to let this go until this.
Oh no, OTAs and mini camps are going to start in the next month. So
that's what I'm thinking. Like this has to happen during mini camp. They're not going to let us run
cover
season.
it. It'll be a thing.
Right? Like they kind of have to.
Yep.
Do we know whether what's oh God.
And don't
What's the
forget, they're
HBO
also in
show?
Florida now, right?
Yeah, no, the Bucks in
Right.
Florida. That's what I was saying is who's HBO following this year?
I don't
For,
know. For Hard
change-
Knocks? I'm not sure.
Hard Knocks, yeah, Hard Knocks.
I'm not sure.
Who are they following?
For some reason, I feel like it's Miami, but I'm not sure about that.
Could it be the Bucks? Could we be seeing R-Truth pop up on Hard Knocks? I'm wondering for crossover value. Someone tell me. I haven't kept track.
Will James says Chargers
and
and Rams.
Oh,
Snooze.
Well, I mean, boring, but the Chargers going to be that's
Jared
dark
Goff
side of,
is such a riveting interview.
Oh, God. Man, following the Chargers on Hard Knocks is going to be like dark side of the field. That's going to be rough. Oh, man.
The funny thing about that, you guys outside of LA don't really know. Nobody wants the Chargers there, and they don't want to be there. And that could, you know what? The Chargers on Hard Knocks could shed some light on some of that stuff. That's the fun irony. And listen, we're not a football podcast, but, you know, I know
We're
you're
a little bit
big,
of everything.
Right, you're a big Raiders fan. I'm
Yes.
kind of everywhere. But the Chargers coming to LA?
Oh,
What the shit was that?
Stupid. So stupid. I mean,
Greedy
that's
rich
just,
people is what it was.
that's
guys.
just the Chargers ownership, and San Diego's down there just going, well, bye,
Yeah.
flipping them the burden
We're just
away
going
out.
to
See
tank
ya.
the team.
Yeah.
The Spinolas
like
or whatever that family
The
is.
complete opposite of what happened with the Raiders in Oakland. But that's not
Right.
the show for this.
Yes.
That's another show. We can do that in the mailbag episode if we need to.
Maybe.
That was it for Raw, though, Nick. Overall, again, I thought the 3 hours this week maybe not flew by, but I felt like the content was full. You know, there wasn't a
It
whole
was.
lot of drag.
There
I
was a
felt like
lot of stuff that happened.
There was a lot, and overall, it was good.
Yeah. There's
So-
not a lot to be upset about. It. Mostly the opening, the dynamics that they need to
Yeah.
fix of the crowd.
And again, with the criticism that we had on that, like, it's just, okay, it was their first shot at it. There's things they need to fix. It was awkward. Okay, let's wait and see. Like, I'm willing to give so much leeway because they're trying. They're trying in an unprecedented situation, excuse me. So I'm absolutely willing to say, okay, well, this week, this, and this didn't work.
Right.
But you know what? They're trying new stuff. So, all right, you tried. Now just keep improving.
Kyle with a $5 super chat yet again. Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Says the
thank
Chargers
you.
were supposed to go to San Antonio, but no, LA needs two teams. Listen, here's how bad the Chargers got punked. The Rams get to play at USC, the beautiful Olympic Bowl. The Rams get to play there. You know where the Chargers are playing? Home Depot Field down
I've
in Torrance
been-
next to the refineries.
It's not good. It makes the Oakland Stadium look amazing by
Oh,
comparison.
God, it's so bad. It's so bad.
Oh,
But, hey,
bad.
guys, wait 5 years. We'll give you this giant $2 billion stadium, but not
Oh,
until
man.
after it's trashed by the Olympics. Hold your...
Yeah, I think Chargers would be good in San Antonio. I mean, the Raiders almost went
Yeah.
there, and I about crapped bricks because I would have to stop being a Raiders fan if that happened.
Yeah.
No disrespect to San Antonio, it's just a matter of what cities I'm willing to root for. I'm not going to root for way to hell out there in Tejas.
No.
Although much love for my Texas people.
Yeah.
But
You're going to be rooting
but yeah.
for the Vegas Raiders pretty soon.
I got my basis previous to the current basis was from San Antonio, so I like ribbing him all the time about his hometown. So anyway, neither here nor there. But that was it for Monday Night Raw, Nick. Overall,
Yes.
a good show. Made me excited for next week. I'm excited about the stuff they're setting up for Backlash. So yeah, props are due.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys very much. But it is now time to head over and do what we like to call our moment of positivity. Mop, 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 mop.
Mop. That's right. It's the Mop, the moment of positivity, brought to you by Sean Clark, one of our lovely listeners who suggested this idea that we end our shows with whatever made us feel good this week, what brought positivity into our life, or something we want to look at in a positive way from this week. Just a little bit of light at the end of our show. So, Nick, what over the last few days made you the most positive, made you feel that warm, fuzzy feeling inside you? What's something that was just awesome? over the last couple days in wrestling?
Oh, well, originally I was looking at Raw sort of exclusively, but now that you've said over the last couple of days, I'm going.
I mean, since our last mop was on Saturday. So you've got Raw and you've got AEW Double or Nothing.
So can I? Well, God, okay. So a couple of extra credits today, if you guys will humor me. One, the one that I jump on immediately is the absolute outreach and outpouring and support, and talking down about bullying and the support for Hana Kimura and everything that has happened. We've seen the tragedy with Shad Gaspard over the last week, and just the response to this. From executives down to individuals throwing hundreds of thousands of dollars at his family to continue to support them after that tragic loss. I mean, just the outpouring that I've seen of social media being anti-bullying, being supportive of one another. Like, I don't recognize wrestling Twitter right now, and it's amazing.
Well, just a quick note on that, because, if you've been keeping up on wrestling Twitter, a guy from another podcast.
Don't ruin my moment of positivity. This is not positive.
I'm not actually. This is going to come back around. Give me a damn second. JD from New York said something very nasty about Alexa Bliss on his podcast. She actually responded to him and said, normally I don't react to this sort of thing, but how dare you say that? And as a result, it seems like a lot of her followers have then gone after him and possibly even doxed him and his parents and started doing all kinds of horrible things to them. To Alexa's credit, she did say in her tweet, hey, everybody, be nice. Like, just the bottom line, be nice. Kind of like what we say on this show. Our big line here is don't be a dick and be excellent to each other. But, the thing to take away from that is, like, the kind of verbiage that he was using about Alexa is completely inappropriate, and he did apologize for it, for better or for worse. But to then turn that around into something negative towards him is absolutely not the correct reaction either. Right. The whole idea is to elevate all of this and to have everything be moving in a positive direction, not fighting negativity with negativity. So in a situation where you see something like that, it's better to tweet support for somebody as opposed to try to tear somebody else down. If in this case, it's something where I hope that JD from New York could actually learn a lesson from this. And, if we all respond to it in a way where we say, dude, that's not how to A, do a wrestling podcast, B, talk about wrestlers, or C, act as a human being, perhaps try this, and this instead. That is a positive way to come at it. Doxing his family is absolutely not a positive way to come at it. So, yeah, I think that's just all I wanted to say about that in terms of what you were talking about wrestling Twitter and people and it being unrecognizable. Was I would like to see them, and they have been, by and large, there has been so much more positivity. That's an instance where I'm saying it could be turned to be positive because we are in a moment now where it seems like it's going in a better direction because of some of these horrible things, unfortunately because of these horrible things.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to take away from your moment, Nick. Please continue about wrestling Twitter being
that's all I had to say about wrestling Twitter. Was just
it's going in the right direction.
It's going in the right direction. I love the outpouring of support, the GoFundMe's and this and the other various support channels. I've seen donations to anti-bullying nonprofit organizations and mental health support centers. Yep. All kinds of stuff. We're getting outreach in the group. Thank you very much to everybody that is being willing and open to talk about things in our group. You have no idea what a warm, fuzzy feeling that is for me to see you guys interacting in that way and feeling safe in our group to be able to have those conversations. I can't say more how proud I am of everybody for handling that properly and for everyone feeling like they are safe to have those talks inside. As far as Monday Night Raw goes, before I get to that, Chris 1978 with us $20 super chat for Shad and Kamara. Thank you very much, man. There is something I do want to talk to Ian about to see if we can offer some support, be it monetary or some other way. And if we do decide to go that route, we will definitely keep you guys updated for sure. As far as Monday Night Raw goes, Man, you might dislike it, but I'm gonna do. I got two. I said I had a
Sure.
couple of extra credits. One,
Hey man, the more positivity, the better.
we got people in an audience. Let's forget about the execution and what we thought of it. We've got people in the audience again making noise. Baby steps. Step one, we got people there.
Got something.
We
there.
got 3 shows a week as opposed to AEW's 1 to try and figure this thing out. So I will give them the benefit of the doubt. They do tend to figure things out pretty quickly when it comes to that. So let's give them till the end of the week and be patient and see what they come up with.
I'll give them a couple of weeks. Like I said, they filmed everything over the course of 3 days, so
yeah,
they're still in the process of filming. So I have a feeling we'll get one look at it for the next couple of weeks, and then they might change stuff up. So it's going to be a process. I don't think it's going to happen quickly. It's going to be a process.
The last one I'll say here, and you might seeing the IIconics on TV again, being the loudmouth, squealy heels, and then turning on the champs and absolutely whipping their ass.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, this is a different IIconics than what we've seen before, even though they come across as the same. Now we're getting aggressive IIconics, not chicken shit heel IIconics. And
yes.
I'm all for this. Like, finally, we're doing some storytelling in the women's tag division. Let's see where this goes. Let's see where we can build this to. So that's my big one from Raw. Is there was a lot of good stuff, but that's the one that just stands out to me as, oh my God, finally, yes, I'm happy.
You know, I'm going to have a hard time picking just one because I've got to look at Double or Nothing and Raw, and there was so much good about both. So much that I came away going, this is great. This is great. I'm happy with this. It's hard to narrow it down to one thing, and I don't know if I can pick anything but the Stadium Stampede match because it really just was 45 minutes of wrestling nerddom and just me laughing my head off with my jaw open, unable to believe what the hell I was seeing. It was 45 minutes of constant freaking entertainment.
Yep.
Just relentless gags, each one that had a payoff. I can't, like, it seems like the obvious one. It is the obvious one, but I'm going to have to go with it. And I've got so many runners-ups, whether it's just everything going on with Seth and Alistair and Carrillo and his disciples and all of that. I just absolutely adore everything that they're doing there. You know, the MVP and Lashley pairing is just, I think, absolute. It's just that Oreo cookie where it just all goes together perfectly. And you've got like the Drew McIntyre and Lashley charisma is fantastic. I'm really happy for Apollo Crews winning the championship. Like, that moment was really great. And there was again, there's so much more stuff at Double or Nothing. There's so many other things I could say, but I can't in a week where the Stadium Stampede match happened not say that was the greatest thing that I saw over the last couple of days.
Right. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
So
superb. We'll be talking about that for years.
Oh yeah, it's one of my things. Like, I still haven't gotten back to go back and watch it again, and I'm dying to. I'm aching to. Now that we've gotten past Raw, we've got a couple of days here of business stuff, and I'm looking forward to doing that. So there you go, guys. Moment of positivity, Monday Night Raw. But we're not done just yet. We've got just enough time to remind you about BWO Daily, our all-new daily Monday through Friday news segment that we'll be doing exclusively on YouTube in place of our normal Other News Lightning Round segment that we normally do on the show. So this is serving two masters. I wanted to explain it to you guys. We are taking this segment out in lieu of doing it daily on YouTube so that we can keep you guys more up to date faster, so we get the content out to you sooner. And it gives us more time to talk about other more wrestling related things that are going on with the shows throughout the week. So hope you guys enjoy it, are liking the BW Dailies. Make sure you subscribe to the channels because they are going up every afternoon. We are getting faster about it as we've only done 2, and we're
getting there.
Greatly gotten faster, and they're only going to get more and more fun as we really amp those up. So BWO Daily, there you go. There's your Other News Lightning Round for today. But thank you guys for joining us on this edition of Busted Wide Open. Make sure you come over and join us on Facebook. Just search for Busted Wide Open. You can find the discussion group in there. Send us a join request, like our page, all that good stuff to get in with the rest of the group for some fun memes, goods, talks, all kinds of good stuff happening over in the discussion group. Also, you want to get into our Discord server for live chats. for every show all throughout the week. Make sure you get into Discord. Make sure you find your way into all of the different wrestling channels. We have one for each show, plus dedicated chat channels for all pay-per-view activities. We can also follow us over on Twitter and Instagram at BWO Podcast. Subscribe right here at youtube.com/bustedwideopen in case you are still blissfully unaware that we have a YouTube channel and that we do these live. We do it every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific, and every Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific, where you can chat live during the show and we'll interact with you guys. I'm sure if you're listening to the audio only, you hear us referring to chat and super chats and all of those things all the time and wondering what those are. Come see for yourself. It's a lot of fun. YouTube.com/bustedwideopen. Last but certainly not least, thank you to all of our patrons. You guys are the grease that keeps the squeaky wheel going. Thank you guys for all of your support. We love you for it. If you'd like to get in on some of those exclusives, head over to patreon.com/BWO. Sign up for one of those reward tiers to get access to the show notes, bonus episodes, Skype calls, all kinds of good stuff happening over there at patreon.com/BWO. But my name is Nick Howell. You can find me on Twitter at DataCenterDude.
And I am Sir Ian Dangerous. You can find me on Twitter at Sir Ian Dangerous.
But my God!
Would somebody stop the damn thing?
This show is part of the Orbital Jigsaw Network. For more episodes, subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher Radio. For details and show notes from each episode, check us out, orbitaljigsaw.com.